Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jed. Welcome to Reading with Your Kids. We are coming to you from the beautiful, wonderful, historical neighborhood of Reedville, located in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so very honored and absolutely delighted that you're joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. You can join us in that mission by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, Amazon Music, Audible, CastBox, Player FM. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Really wonderful show for you today. First up, Michal Berg is here to celebrate LB, Discovering the Inner Light. And later in the show, Dr. Michelle Schiffman is back with us from Reach Out and Read, letting us know why physical books are so very important and helpful. Sick Days just got spectacular. In Charlotte and Penelope and the neighborhood stage, two sisters are stuck inside until their animal friends put on the show of the year. Meet a dolphin band leader, a tap-dancing rabbit, and the loudest geese you've ever heard. It's a rhyming, rollicking, read-along adventure your kids will absolutely love. You can find Charlotte and Penelope and the Neighborhood Stage by Teresa Argenbright wherever books are sold. The Daytime Began, beautiful new picture book by Mary Ellen Roberson, available at maryellenroberson.com.
In the dawn of the world, when colors were born, a gentle voice whispered, let there be morn. From mountains to rivers and skies up so blue, the daytime began. Oh, what a beautiful view. With every beat of the heart, in the breeze of the land, nature was singing as life took a stand. Oh, the wonders, the colors, the creatures so bright, in the pages of a story that brings pure delight. With every turn of the leaves, can you feel the cheer? The daytime began, let's celebrate here.
Hey, my friends, I want you to meet Corky the Quirky Cow, the most musical cow you'll ever meet. Corky has a magical gift. She can mimic every animal on the farm. Pigs, ducks, chickens, you name it. Together with her friends, Corky creates a barnyard symphony so enchanting that Farmer Ken starts hosting concerts. Written by Lavelle Carlson, Corky the Quirky Cow is more than just a funny farm tale. It's a powerful tool for speech therapists, teachers, and parents to help build early language, articulation, and phonological skills. Through her fun-filled storybook adventures, Corky the Quirky Clown helps young readers boost their speech and language skills with laughter and learning. And guess what? She's offering a free downloadable book, Eek! I Hear a Squeak. It's perfect for parents, teachers, and speech therapists. You can get yours today at slpstorytellers.com. Join us right now from beautiful Los Angeles, California. Our guest is here today to celebrate. Her picture book is called LB, Discovering the Inner Light. She's also the CEO of sfk.org, Spirituality for Kids. Please welcome to the show, Michal Berg. Hey, Michal, how are you?
Hi, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. Tell me about LB. Who is this character that we're going to be in your book?
First of all, it's a she, which was a surprise for me too, because through the work with the illustrator, she became a she. And I love that. And I kept that because, LB could be anything. She's a little bug that I think I really resonate with. She's a little bug that didn't think that anything is special about her. She was very curious about life. And she kind of discovered slowly through different interactions and relationships, amazing things about herself. And I think she helps children to discover that as well about themselves.
When we're saying discovering the inner light, what are we talking about? What's that inner light?
Right, that's a good question. In our curriculum in Spirituality for Kids, the whole purpose is to help children to discover that their spirit. There is the body, mind, and there's a spirit. And in SFK, we call it light. So using a lighting bag was really a natural kind of a way to talk about our spirit, our inherent power, our inherent wisdom, and our inherent goodness. And I think that is the purpose of the book. That's the purpose of everything that we do, is to help children to connect to that aspect of them. There's a lot, and our programs are also dealing with social and emotional learning and how to understand your emotions and how to manage your emotions. But there is another level of where it's beyond our emotions and our thoughts, which is our spirit. Some people will call it soul, people will call it different names. We chose to use light. It's also very tangible to relate to light and the lighting bag is a great example of the light within. And yeah, so the light within it's all the amazing things that we all have inherently, and that sometimes we feel completely in the dark and disconnected from it, and we don't feel that we are powerful, and we don't feel that we are so great, and we do have a mean side to us that can be quite dark and negative, but overall we do have that. And I always believe that if we help children to give language and already examples about that light within them, that is the source, that is the way to instill resilience. Because then you go through whatever comes in life and different things. There's always I call it the home button. This is where you can always go back to and recenter and realign. And we all have it, and we don't need to do anything to earn it. It's there. It's just a matter of how to relax enough, or to be quiet, or to pause, or to listen to it. And it has a beautiful voice, just quite quiet. And it takes practice to learn how to hear it.
As I'm listening to you, I'm reminded of a quote I heard just last week. I mean, I've heard it many times, but I heard it again last week. And it was, most of us think that we're a body that has a soul. We should be thinking that we're a soul that happens to be using a body at the moment.
Right. Right. It says, I think what you're referring to, it says that we are not a human being having spiritual experiences. We are a spiritual being having human experiences. Mm-hmm. And I think that's exactly what it is. And I think that the more we give language and we talk about it with children, they become more natural to understand that, we experiencing now being in this life, in body, and it comes with a tremendous set of challenges, and it's not simple, but there is, what we were first, or what we're coming with, is we have all the tools to help us to go through life as human being, and that's our soul, and that's our light inside of us.
What inspired you? Obviously, you're the CEO of this organization, and you have a big team behind you, so I'm sure that keeps you very busy, but what inspired you to add becoming a children's author to that busy calendar?
I love children's books. I love cartoons. I would watch all the cartoons, even till today, even my kids are adults. I think there is magic in books. I think that there is something, to be able to convey a message in few words and few images in a short version. It's very powerful. There are so many books, not many, but there is few books that for me they are classics, and they say, then the message is so potent that it's like, I just love it. I think it's an amazing tool of expression, creative expression of wisdom and consciousness. And it really, the way it just came out, and it was so smooth and so fast and so beautiful, the process itself, that I'm like, wow, it wasn't me, but it was just, everything came together. The illustrator, she's unbelievable, and we had an amazing relationship, and I really say it's a 50-50 collaboration over here. It just, I don't know, it was just there, it came out, I don't know. But I do appreciate the format of books. I hope that that's something that's not going to go away anytime soon, because there's nothing like it.
Well, let's give that illustrator a shout out.
Yes.
Yes. So what's your illustrator's name?
Margarita Sada, and she's from Mexico City. And I'll be happy to share her Instagram and contact. She is just a beautiful soul and a very talented illustrator. And she really brought it to life in a beautiful way. It's not easy to find illustrators that can give real emotions to an animal. Mm-hmm. And I think she did it beautifully. Yeah. And that's what I was looking for, that expression of human emotions in an animated character.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think she did a great job.
That's wonderful. Michal, a lot of kids struggle with big feelings. How do you think parents can best help kids discover their own inner light?
I think as a parent, what I used to do is not to give it those big feelings too much of not to get too excited about it, and not to be afraid of it. You know, it comes and goes, you know, it's big emotions come, and I think they're very important to be expressed. And, you know, I let my kids, you know, not talk very nicely sometimes, and to feel upset, or to feel whatever it is, whatever comes up. And I think as a parent is not to kind of, I would say, create more drama than already there. And it's more about understanding that we have power over our emotions. And I think that's the key. The key is to understand that, yes, it's very powerful. They're very scary sometimes. They're very, very big. But we are bigger. And as we learn to just let them be and not react to them, because the emotion is not the problem. The reactive emotion is not the problem. The problem is the reactive behavior that follow an emotion. And that is the key, is to help kids to stop before they react. So I wouldn't judge or talk too much about what they're feeling. Whatever they're feeling, it's right at the moment, and for them and the way they view life. It's the ability to stop and to have a pause before you do something with those emotions, or act on them, or make decisions of them, or define yourself because of what you're feeling. So I think it's more don't define yourself because you're feeling sad or angry, or, you know, mean words came out of your mouth. You're not a bad boy. So I think it's not identifying with emotions, but it helped them to navigate between emotions and reaction. Which are two different things. And where we have the choice is how to react to the emotion. Sometimes we have no choice about what comes up as emotionally, but we definitely have the power to decide how to act on that emotion.
Yeah. I think that's a really important lesson for kids to learn. You also mentioned something that I think is also important for parents. It's whatever the kid is feeling is correct. It might not be the way that you feel, but that's an emotion that a kid has. We can't be saying, oh, don't be sad, don't feel that way. That's the way the kid is feeling. I feel the same when we ask a kid, and I think one of the beauties of a book like LB Discovering the Inner Light is it gives us opportunities to say to our kids, what do you think about that? What do you think about what LB did? And when we ask our kids, what do you think, or their emotion, their answer is always correct. You know, because you're asking them their opinion. Can you elaborate on how important that is and why it's important for us to acknowledge our kids' feelings, acknowledge our kids' opinions, even when they don't jibe with ours?
I think questions are really key for parenting and for education. I think that I know one myself. I used to think that my role as a mother was to give them answers and to guide them and to all the time tell them, what's the right thing to do. And I really learned with time that if you put back the questions to them, or what do you think, or what do you think you can do about it? And any question will be better than telling them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what the curiosity of the questions in LB book is kind of like, that's what promotes self-discovery. If we are constantly being fed from the outside in to what to think, what to do, even what's right, what's wrong, it takes away of that natural process of really finding from within myself the answers. And the answers from within will always be a compassionate and the right answer. It will always come from, because it comes from the soul, it comes from the inner light. So the more we send them back to themselves to get answers or to wonder about something, the right answer will come up. Mm-hmm. So definitely, I have 5 children, and I can say that each and every one of them is completely a different person. And I had to really learn to deal with each one in a completely different way. And whatever works with one did not work with the other. I had to become very sensitive to who they are. Mm-hmm. I could never stay just, this is who I am, and it's not going to work. It's who they are. Learning about them, learning how they experience life, how they see life. Everybody see life differently. We don't have the same experiences. Mm-hmm. So what I always tell parents is it's about learning to know your children. It's not about what you need to necessarily, what we can, across the world, we all need to give them love and respect and listen. But they all really need a little different of style of attention, or a little different style of communication. Mm-hmm. And and it actually makes our job easier, because I think as parents, we really think that we need to be on top of everything and tell them, no. We just need to listen. We need to watch. We need to notice. We need to listen. We need to give them space. And then our job as a parent become easier. Yeah. Much easier.
I agree. Can you talk a little bit about SFK and what you folks are all about?
Sure. So Spirituality for Kids is a non-for-profit organization. And what we create programs and training programs for either teachers or individuals and parents who wants to help their children through spiritual, social, and emotional learning. So we have all this social, emotional learning components by all the standards and everything, but we have an extra added, very important part, which is spiritual intelligence. And I think this is a new term that's even educators starting to use, understanding that social and emotional is not enough. It's amazing, very powerful tool, but not enough. We cannot, we took out God out of the schools, which I understand, but we also took out the spirit of education, the spirit of children, and to the real source of, I would say, resiliency, as I said before, and the real source of fulfillment and understanding of purpose and why we're here. So just back to what we do. We have programs, we have training programs. There is a whole, on the side they can see, we have parenting programs as well. And what we do is we either train school teachers or mentors in organizations. We have the programs in 6 languages. And we are in different places around the world through amazing people who's ambassadors. We actually a very small team, but quite a nice reach internationally. And what's beautiful about what we created, that it's really universal. The spiritual aspect of what we teach is very universal. We have experience teaching Christian, Muslim, Jews, or kids with no faith background. The same exact curriculum, and they all relate to it, and it doesn't go against any faith or any religion. But it really gives them, it opens their eyes to something that is not commonly spoken about, and definitely not in schools today, and also often not at home. And it's something that creates a really, I believe, a very strong foundation for the future. I know kids who went through that as children and as teenagers or young adults, they say they still carry those. There's like few things that they carry with them that really makes a difference and help them to stand for peer pressure or to understand their true value that's beyond the, the beauty and the this or the exposure, the social media. Our kids today, let's be honest, they really need to handle a lot. And I think that helping them to have a strong inner core and anchor is extremely important, more today than ever.
Well, I'm really happy you addressed, the parent who might be out there saying, well, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, and how, but what about the parent that's out there that is listening to this and hears the word spirituality and goes, that woo-woo California stuff, my kids.
I totally get it. And we have a small explanation about what we mean when we say spirituality, and you can see it on the side. But I think that, listen, words in general, they're very limiting. It's very hard to have one word with such a, and everybody has a different explanation. But I would say, when we talk about spirituality, we talk about connectedness. It's between connecting. There's a connection that I have with myself. There's a connection that I have with other people, and there's a connection that I have with the universe at large. And it's all intertwined and it's all together. And when I understand that what I do doesn't just affect me, it has an impact for good and for bad, I become a little bit more accountable. When I understand that there is something I need to be connected in myself, because otherwise I'm like a leaf in the wind with whatever happened outside, and I'm so fragile, and there's no. So first is the connection to self, and really we use spiritual intelligence because it really helped. That definition, which I don't have right with me, but I'm happy to share it later, really talks about the understanding of accountability, that I am responsible for what I feel, for what I do. I am responsible for my relationships, and I can make a difference. I can make a difference not only in my life, I can make a difference in my family's life, I can make a difference in my friend's life. I have a tremendous power to impact another human being. My words have power. My everything, what I think has power. So yeah, that's what spirituality is. I mean, no other, and I'm not talking about any dogma or any practices beside the practicing of pausing and giving yourself a space before you react.
One of the thoughts I was having, I had an interview earlier today with a woman who shared some stories of her kid who probably felt at a moment in their life, went through some very difficult things, and probably might have thought, I think my light has gone out. What would you say to that kid?
So we actually have a beautiful example in the curriculum that we use, and we take an example like let's say you have a lamp, and the lamp is on. There's a light bulb, and it's on, and then there is. Let's say I'm thinking that I'm not good enough, right? So it's kind of like I have those thoughts like I'm not good enough, I'm a loser, Then when I have those thoughts, then there is think about a fabric that you put over the light. Mm-hmm. And then I get really frustrated, and I'm being mean to my sister, and I talk really bad to her. So there's another cloth that goes over that light, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's different things, different choices that we have in our life. It's either believing our crazy thoughts that we are not good enough, or it's being mean to somebody else, or being selfish, or bullying somebody, all those things. So if you look at it just visually, keep having those cloth going over the light bulb until the light is really dimmed. And the light is not as strong as it was before. It can be even complete dark in the end of, in the end of the day, or in the end of a period of time. But in reality, the light is still on. The light never changes. And then we can start uncovering again and taking layers off of that light bulb through different actions. So even if it's about relating to myself, I can start thinking differently about myself. I can really work on my inner dialogue, my inner critic. I can find different way to deal with frustration. I can look, why am I so angry, right? There's a reason why I'm angry. So find out the reason why I'm angry. And all those things are just slowly uncovering. And the light is, and that's the beauty, and that's why I call it the home button and the resilience, I would say, solution, because that light never dimmed and never changed, no matter what we do. We don't have that power to destroy or to, but we do have the power to cover it. And there is the illusion that the light is not there, that there's the illusion that I'm not good anymore. And that's actually one of the biggest things with children, is that they start identifying with being not good enough, and not the bad boy, or right, especially in school setting and all that, the troublemaker, whatever, the special need kid with learning disability, whatever it is that we kind of identify with. But that light never goes away. So it's the reverse actions that I can do internally and externally that I can start now seeing the light, feeling the light back. But never change. Nothing changed there.
Right. I love it. If there's a group out there, parent, obviously, the book LB Discovering the Inner Light is a great place to start. But if people want to get deeper into SFK and your curriculums, if there's a school out there or school system, what's the first step for them?
So everything is online. So two things. First of all, about the book. When you order the book on Amazon, it comes with a beautiful bookmark. And on the bookmark, there is a QR code that takes you to a page on our website with activities that goes along with the book. So this is a beautiful place to start. If you start with the book, and then there's really nice activities. There's fun facts about lighting bugs, because not all children actually know ever saw a lighting bug. There is questions that you can ask your kid to start a conversation about the themes in the book. And there's also different activities that's actually good for a group or for schools, to, again, enhancing the book messages. Beside this, just go on sfk.org, read what we do. Everything is very clear there. There is we have a curriculum it is a paid curriculum. You don't have to start there. There's a lot of, we have right away 3 lessons are free. And every animation or lesson that we have activities with it. We always believe that you have to do it needs to be a full experience. So it's not just listening, reading, fitting all the learning styles of children. So every animation has activities with it, which is either an art project, journaling, game. So it's really fun. The idea is to teach this really life-changing concept, big concept, but in a fun way. So there's always a little bit of humor and a little bit of fun to go with it.
Excellent. Well, I love it. People should check out. So the website they can check out is sfk.org, correct?
Correct. S for spirituality, F for 4, and K for kids, .org.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of LB, Discovering the Inner Light. Our guest has been Michal Berg. My friend, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
If you are a regular listener of Reading with Your Kids, you know how much I love Clowns Without Borders. Clownswithoutborders.org. I would love for you to visit that website and consider becoming a joy maker. Clowns Without Borders sends clowns to disaster areas, refugee camps, anywhere around the world that people really need to smile. Clowns Without Borders, we're there. Right now, my friend Josie May and 3 other amazing artists are entertaining kids who really need a smile in Zimbabwe. We would love for you to help them bring those smiles, make that happiness a reality by going to clownswithoutborders.org and consider becoming a joy maker. Your monthly gift can bring a smile to a kid who really needs it. clownswithoutborders.org. My friends, if you have ever thought about owning a business that's fun, rewarding, and makes a valuable contribution to kids' education, well, Brooklyn Robot Foundry is calling your name. I recently met Jenny Young. She's the founder of Brooklyn Robot Foundry. And let me tell you, she is incredible. Her passion for getting kids excited about STEAM, that's STEM plus art, it's contagious. I'm telling you. This isn't your average kids program. Brooklyn Robot Foundry is all about hands-on, screen-free STEAM fun. These kids get to build a different robot each class and take it home with them afterwards. Kids love it. Parents are raving about it. And now you can own a franchise and bring this incredible experience to families in your community. Now, this isn't your typical franchise. Brooklyn Robot Foundry is a mobile, flexible business with a deep curriculum that's making a real impact in schools and communities around the country. Franchise owners get a proven curriculum, full training, and support from a passionate team. So what are you waiting for? Please visit bit.ly/RobotJed. That's bit.ly/RobotJed. And let them know you heard about it on Reading with Your Kids. Join us right now from Denver in the great state of Colorado. Our guest is here today to celebrate an organization that we love, Reach Out and Read. Please welcome to the show the medical director for the Colorado branch of Reach Out and Read, Dr. Michal Schiffman. Hey, Dr. Michal, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Delighted to have you on. We've had a number of different members of Reach Out and Read on the program over the past year or so. Marty Martinez and your board chair. And I love this program. And we recently had an author who's a pediatrician who's part of Reach Out and Read. So that was really neat. He was surprised I knew all about it. So tell us in a nutshell, remind everybody what Reach Out and Read is all about, please.
Yeah. So Reach Out and Read is a national program. We partner with clinicians to promote early literacy and healthy caregiver-child relationships. So at each well visit from birth through age 5, clinicians give families a new age and developmentally appropriate book, and we encourage shared reading to support brain development, school readiness, and social emotional growth.
You know, I launched Reading with Your Kids back in 2017 because I knew that the relationship I have with my now adult kids, which is a really great relationship, was built on a foundation of reading. I knew that they loved it. I loved it. We really grew closer together. Reading together led to cooking together, throwing the ball around together, watching movies together, making fun of people. No, we didn't do that. But, it was that bond. And I was delighted to find out over the course of years of doing this podcast how many other benefits there are when we read with our kids and how beneficial it is. But it's still that, I think that social emotional growth, that bond that we develop with our kids when we read together, I think is so very, very important.
Absolutely. I think you sort of nailed it on the head that reading together does more than just build literacy, which we know that it does, but it also helps build connection and help parents build bonding experiences with their kids. More than 90% of a kid's brain is formed in those first 5 years. So we know that when you read aloud together, you create these moments where you feel secure and warmth and love between caregivers and children. And the sound of the caregiver's voice, that shared attention that they're spending time together and not looking at their phones, helps strengthen that relationship, which is essential for emotional and social growth of those kids and families.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, we also know that books act as both mirrors and windows. So when kids are reading together with their families, we know that mirrors are so children can see themselves and feel represented in books, and windows so that they can learn about people, cultures, and experiences beyond their own.
You know something, Dr. Michelle? I love that books can be mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. And the reality is I'm an old, almost 100-year-old white guy. So when I was growing up, there were lots of mirrors in the books that I read. And so I always loved the fact that books gave me a chance to introduce my kids to different cultures and to different worlds. But then I was having a conversation. I'm part of a group called Clowns Without Borders. And I was having a conversation with with our executive director, who I call her the boss clown. And, I realized that she was telling me one of her favorite books to read with her kid, which was about a clown and a clown family. I realized that my kids and I really loved reading a book called The Clown of God. And it just like hit me like with a big sack of potatoes. It was like, oh my God. Yeah. My kids were seeing themselves in this book, about a clown, and their dad's a clown. And so, that's a really powerful thing, being able to see yourself portrayed positively in the pages of a book.
Definitely. And I think it's also really important that people get to see kids and families like those they may see in school and those around them that aren't necessarily exactly what they see reflected back.
Yeah.
But when they see themselves reflected back in books, it makes them feel important. It makes them feel like they matter.
Yeah. Now, you were saying that kids during these well visits, they receive a book that's appropriate for them. So would you folks in your office look to, if you have an Asian family, perhaps look to make sure that they had some books that reflected and mirrored themselves in the books that you gave them?
Yeah, so our clinics here in Colorado are given a list of what we consider to be quality, diverse, and inclusive books. And then the medical champion of each clinic gets to sort of order the books that they see fit. And so if the population that they serve is more Hispanic or potentially more patients speak Chinese, they can order books in different languages and sort of pick and choose from that library and catalog of books. And then when they check in at the front desk, we ask them what language they would prefer. And so hopefully we have a book in a language that they would prefer as well. At my clinic, most of the books are bilingual in English and Spanish.
Awesome. I imagine getting a book. I know that parents are the most important person in kids' lives. And so when the parent takes the time out of their day to sit down, be intentional, read with the kids, that's a big thing. But I have to imagine that, most families hold doctors and nurses in such high esteem. Receiving a book from a doctor, especially a book that reflects them, must be pretty powerful.
I think so. And also we are so lucky being caregivers or providers for families, in that we get to see these families and build rapport with them time and time again so that they really get to trust us. Unlike many others in sort of that early relational space, we get to see these kids in perpetuity and continuity, which is fantastic. And so we do like to think that by us talking to families about the importance of reading, it carries a little bit more weight with that as well.
Yeah. I to this day, he's passed, but I have very fond memories of my pediatrician who, brought me into the world and the old version of whatever they used to call the NICU. And, I saw him weekly to get allergy shots, and he was a real big, important person in my life.
Definitely. And we love it too. So research also shows that providers that get to participate and reach out and read have less provider burnout and find more joy in our days, because we also get to give out the books and talk to families about reading.
That is fantastic. I love that. And you also mentioned that in your office you have someone you called a medical champion. How do I sign up for that job?
It's someone identified. It doesn't have to be a provider. It can be a medical assistant or a nurse or the front desk staff, but someone who really enjoys reach out and read and knows how important it is. And so they sort of take on that role within the clinic in terms of ordering the books and stickering the books and making sure that the clinic's all set up to do reach out and read.
Now, I know, and we've talked a lot about it here on the podcast, that, and I was surprised to find out that in our education system these days, kids learn to read up until grade 2, But then when they hit grade 3, they are reading to learn. And if your kid isn't ready to read on grade level, they're in big trouble in 3rd grade.
Yeah, so our nation's report card is that only 40% of 4th and 8th graders are reading at that basic level. So Reach Out and Read is really hoping to change that trajectory by starting at the very beginning. So as mentioned, we start giving books out at birth. So at that very first visit where parents maybe have a 2-day-old and they're coming to the clinic, we're already talking about reading and literacy and vocabulary. We know that the early shared reading builds the brain connections that they're going to need for language, focus, and learning, and that kids who grow up with books and daily reading routines enter school already with stronger vocabulary so that they're more prepared to become successful readers.
Yeah. What's the number? We've quoted it here. I don't know if it's changed, but a kid who's read to every day, 20 minutes a day, by the time they get to kindergarten, they will have heard over 800,000 more words than their peers who weren't read to?
I think that's the statistic. I was trying to find it earlier and sort of found differing, but it's definitely a substantial more amount of vocabulary that children have entering kindergarten if they've been read to daily from day one.
And that's an incredible statistic. It's also, I just want to go back because I don't want people to miss it. You were saying 40% of 3rd or 4th and 8th graders are below grade level in terms of literacy?
In terms of literacy, yeah. That's what the nation's report card showed this year.
That's horrific. And it's unacceptable. We pride ourselves on being this great nation, and I think in lots of ways it is, but boy, we're letting down a lot of kids.
We are, and I think it's hard because parents don't even know that they're letting down their kids by not talking or reading together. And so the more that we can get that message out, that it's so simple as just spending 2 minutes together and talking to help your kid with language and being a successful reader is really important.
Yeah. Now, we were talking a little bit before we started recording that you are a huge advocate for reading physical books with kids as opposed to reading on a screen. Can you talk a little bit more about that and why that physical book is so much better than the Kindle?
Yeah. So most adults will read on a Kindle these days, but as a kid, I still think physical books are extremely important because they engage all of the senses when you read a book. So kids can hold them, they turn the pages. Those little kids, those 4 and 6 months old, are even chewing on the book. So they're sort of engaging with the book in multiple ways. And this hands-on experience helps develop not only language and vocabulary skills, but also fine motor skills. It reinforces concepts like cause and effect and sequencing when you read together, also some spatial awareness with that book. And unlike screens, they offer a tactile and immersive experience, especially those books that have flaps that you lift or tactile, like puffy, squishy sounds or things that feel different on the pages. And then the language in books is so different and unique than unlike anything you would hear in conversational language. For example, describing a night as quiet as a dream. You would never say that in conversational language. So kids are getting exposed to so many different types of vocabulary and language that boost their literacy and then also their imagination when they read physical books.
Yeah, absolutely. We had an author publisher on one night that created a series of board books that were not made with the traditional cardboard, but with Tyvek, that installation thing, so the kids can actually be encouraged to chew it and bring it in the tub and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I'm often telling parents because they'll try and take the book out of their 4 or 6 month old mouth, and I say, no, that's totally fine. That's the reason I gave you a hard board book. It's on purpose.
Now, how long have you been involved in Reach Out and Read?
So I have been doing Reach Out and Read for 6 years as an attending and another 4 in residency. And then I actually heard about it in medical school in Oregon. So a little over 10 years, and I've been the medical director here in Colorado for about 4.
Yeah. So you've really been involved in this. And when you learned about it in, I think you said medical school, what was your thought? Was it like, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense, or this is some woo-woo stuff that someone created to sell books?
I thought it was astounding. I would think back to like reading back with my own parents and how I still remembered how magical it was and how loved I felt and sort of that connection with reading. And I'm an avid reader now and really enjoy reading books for pleasure, which you don't often get a lot of time to do. And so I loved it. And then I also really learned as a medical student and resident how to use the book to my advantage as a clinician also. So we as providers use the book to help monitor developmental milestones during the visit, which is really helpful. So I find it makes my visit easier and faster because I get to use the book and sort of go through appropriate milestones and what to expect by using the book as a tool during the visit as well.
Fascinating. Can you talk a little bit more about how you do that?
Yeah. So the provider is the one who walks in with the book. One, it makes us way more relatable to the child and much less scary when we walk in. Two, it sort of forces the caregiver and child to interact with you in the book right away and sort of put down their phones. So you immediately sort of get this piece of interaction with the book. And then we get to use it to track developmental milestones, see how the child engages, see how the parent engages with the child while using the book, and then sort of model and talk through how better to use the book, how to use it as a bedtime routine, and then refer the child if needed. So you can say, hey, you notice how your 6-month-old didn't reach for the book. That would be a typical skill a 6-month-old would do. Let's work on that, or that kind of skill.
Yeah. Our pediatrician, tried his hardest to relate. He got along great with my son. My daughter wasn't a big fan because he was kind of goofy and he would come in with a hammer that made a noise and all that kind of stuff. If he had walked in with a book for my daughter, I think it would have changed things immediately because she really loves books to this day. She loves reading.
Yeah, it's great. And it's not just something you sort of give at the end, like, hey, here's a book, go on your way. Thanks for being a great kid. You sort of get to use it and model it and talk about what to expect for the future visits, which is often what parents have a lot of questions about. And so that's always really helpful. And I really try and encourage parents, especially who may have lower literacy skills themselves, that you don't actually need to read the book word for word, but it's really the spending the time together, looking at the pictures and sort of modeling engagement with that book.
That's an interesting point you brought up. I've asked my beautiful wife over the years. She spent 34 years teaching in the Boston public schools. And I remember when we launched the podcast, I said to her, I goes, I have a feeling most parents who are listening to the show, I'm kind of preaching to the choir. That's why they picked, downloaded the podcast. How can we reach those parents who aren't reading to their kids every night? And she would say, a lot of my kids' parents, they can't read. Is there a way, if you discover during a wellness visit that a parent has low literacy skills, is there a way that you can refer them to some programs where they could get some help?
Yeah, so many of the clinics in the states themselves will have programs where you can refer for helping with literacy. And then you can go to the Reach Out and Read website also. And there's some programs, so there's some audiobooks that families can listen to together. And then there's actually some programs about mathematics as well. So it doesn't have to be just straight literacy. But I think really it's important talking to the families and saying, I don't care if you're reading this book word for word. I care that you guys are spending moments together looking at the pictures, asking about what you think is going to happen next, where the patient's nose is, what color is this fish, just sort of engagement questions. And just by doing that, you're already setting your own child up to have more success as a reader and as they enter kindergarten.
Now, the doctors that are participating in the program, do they receive training from Reach Out and Read?
Yeah, so nationally there's an online training. So any provider or clinic that's participating in the program will get some sort of training through the online training. And then we're working actually on a national resident curriculum to teach residents about Reach Out and Read. And then my program here in Colorado, we've also worked on a medical student education as well to help with that.
Very impressive. I know when I talk to the board chair, there are some really lofty goals. Where are we right now with Reach Out and Read? How many kids are we, and I say we, but I've had enough guests on. I can put myself we. How many kids are we in reaching with Reach Out and Read right now?
Yeah, so in 2024, Reach Out and Read nationally had over 40,000 clinicians that served over 4.5 million children, which was close to 8 million books that got given out nationally. And here in Colorado, that's almost 240,000 books that were given out in 2024.
Super. And I think that there was a 5-year plan to get to 1 million kids or 5 million kids in the program.
Probably 5 million because we're close. We're at 4.6.
Awesome. That's incredible. Really is incredible. How, again, if you could just talk about how your physicianing, how your pediatricianing changed at being part of Reach Out and Read.
I think I enjoy it. It's my favorite part of the day is that I get to give the books to the kids. I look forward to those visits where we get to give the Reach Out and Read books. Mm-hmm. 2, I love listening as to what their favorite books are and sort of what their routine is. So it's a nice little icebreaker when you come in the room. And I think I've really changed how I focus more on that dyad. So the parent caregiver relationship when I walk in the room. So really focusing on how I can best help them create the best relationship between the caregiver and the children. And a way to do that is through shared reading every day.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Where can people go to find out more about Reach Out and Read? Maybe donate some money, maybe get some information so they can go into their pediatrician who is not part of the program and say, hey, you got to become part of Reach Out and Read.
Absolutely. So you can visit the national site at reachoutandread.org and click Find a Site where you can enter your address and it'll show you sort of the closest clinic that's participating in Reach Out and Read. You can also go down to each of your states' site as well. So Colorado has its own Reach Out and Read site, but we are in all 50 states.
Exciting. Is there any other avenues that Reach Out and Read is exploring? Any new initiatives that we should know about?
So we recently rolled out the Back to Birth initiative. So starting at birth, we give those books at all of the visits. And then we've been working on making sure that our used book program is really robust as well. So clinics that might be on waiting lists or non-traditional clinics can still participate and Reach Out and Read and get some of their guidance while also getting used books in the waiting rooms so that siblings and family members and everyone can leave with a book, even if it's not that new book from the well-child visit. Everyone can start to build their home libraries.
Wonderful. I love what Reach Out and Read is doing, Dr. Michal. I love that you are part of it, that you're the medical director on Colorado, and I love that you are with us here on Reading with Your Kids.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.
Hey, I want to thank you for joining us here on Reading with Your Kids. Hey, if you're an author with a fantastic children's book, we'd love to hear from you. Visit readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Authors Click Here button up at the top of the page to learn how you can be a guest here in the show. Being a guest, it's fun, it's easy. It gives you the chance to tell thousands of Kidlit fans all over the world about your fantastic children's book. Hey, and if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to share it with your friends. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review. And, of course, please don't forget to subscribe. It really helps us grow. Huge thanks to our guest, Dr. Michal Schiffman. Please be sure to check out Reach Out and Read. We also want to thank Michal Berg. Be sure to check out LB, Discovering the Inner Light. I want to thank my amazing team, Fatima Khan, Chris Doherty, Rory Grady, Dante Greco, Elle Glassman. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we want to thank you. Every time you read with your kids, you're creating magic and making the world a better place. Until next time, keep reading, keep loving, and keep creating those magical moments together.
He's quite a sight, crawling on the floor, oh what a delight. He barks and he wiggles, chasing after me. In a world of laughter, we're wild and free. He thinks he's a puppy with a wagging tail, rolling on the carpet, he'll never fail. With a giggle and a bark, he steals the show. My baby brother knows how to go. My baby brother thinks he's a puppy, playing in the sun. Oh, isn't it lovely? He yips and he yaps with a playful bark. My baby brother brings joy to the park. Oh, my little pup, let's run and play. Dance around the room, we'll chase the day away. his snacks, munching on goodies when he's taking his naps. Mom says he's adorable, and that's no surprise. With those big puppy eyes, under starry skies, we play fetch with toys. Oh, what a thrill. He leaps like a pup, it's such a skill. Every day's an adventure, we're a playful pair. With laughs and barks, we light up the air. My baby brother thinks he's a puppy, playing in the sun. Oh, isn't it lovely? He yips and he yaps with a playful bark. My baby brother brings joy to the park. Oh, my little pup, let's run and play. Dance around the room, we'll chase the day away. Let's jump like puppies, let's twirl and spin. With every little giggle, a playful win. Wagging our tails, feeling sweet and bright. In our puppy world, everything feels right. My baby brother thinks he's a puppy, playing in the sun. Oh, isn't it lovely? He yips and he yaps with a playful bark. My baby brother brings joy to the park. Oh, my little pup, let's run and play. Dance around the room, we'll chase the day